Good evening, and welcome to This Week in Joe's Basement. I'm Joe, and this is my basement. This week in Joe's Basement, we're going to take an eclectic approach to this week's show. And for those of you who are not familiar with broadcasting technical jargon, eclectic means that we really couldn't come up with a good idea, good solid idea for a show, so we just picked whatever half-baked ideas we had and just sort of put them together to make a show. Anyway, this week we're going to look at people as they actually are, again, and people as they actually aren't, just for a variety. Hang on a sec.
I'm sorry, I should really explain. My basement, I've just had my basement remodeled this week, and you know, they say a man's basement is his castle. Well, really my physical surroundings are my anchor to my...
to reality. And I'm afraid I'm feeling a little bit disoriented now that this basement has been remodeled.
And what really hinders my doing my opening when I can't really get comfortable and solidify my...
Hang on a sec.
It just makes it difficult for me to be natural on camera when
I'm not sort of in. You know what I mean. Anyway, hang on a sec. I think I can correct this.
Oh, that's much better. Okay. This week we're going to do our first segment in responding to viewer mail. And here's our viewer mail address, which we've been telecasting since January. And I'll bet you wonder what we were going to do when we finally got some. Well, we didn't. But saved by the bell, my friend Jengis ordered us some catalogs. You know Jengis, don't you? And so I'm going to have a look at them with you on screen. So the first one is from Flash Video in San Francisco. And I promised that I would somehow present on the air anything that I get in the mail. And I'm starting out certainly in the traditional way. And Flash. Unusual documentary videos. A good thing we're on at 11:30. Oh my God. Body Shock. Weird Spring Break. Weird New York. Weird San Francisco. Weird. Well, okay. The next one is addressed to Mr. Bob, and it's from the South Community Church, which is, I think, going to provide a nice, healthy influence on this show. For those of you who watch a lot of Access, I think you sort of ought to be able to appreciate a little religious influence on your television programming. And the Fellowship of Humanity, New Age Movement, TV Kills. Okay, and then we got this package here from the National Supply Company, a company I know you do business with all the time. And let's see what. Something very colorful in here with lots of birds and things on it. And it's the National Tattoo Company. And ooh, wow. Oh, just take that. Right. Okay. So on with the show. People as they actually are and are not this week in Joe's Basement. I got to get the phone now. Why don't I do that?
I wasn't very proud of my stuff on the...
Really? Because I thought that was probably good. Hello? Hello?
Tattoo company. No, tattoo supply, though.
Oh, not yet, no. I was just finishing a tape of my intro for Joe's Basement. I was doing my intro for Joe's
It's in New Hyde Park.
This week it's, well, you'll see.
I've had several encounters with policemen. Not all of them pleasant. And I'd like to tell you about one of those. It happened one day when some friends of mine, rather good friends of mine, I would say, we wanted to build a liquid nitrogen bomb. Not because we wanted to do any harm to anyone, you understand, but just because we wanted to see it explode. We like that. I think you can appreciate that. So we went out to the point. This is a place in Hyde Park where 55th Street juts out into the lake. It's called the Point, or the Promontory Point for long. And it's a nice place, actually. It's nice, quiet Sunday afternoon, and we were pretty much all alone, and there wasn't anybody around there to bother or be bothered by us as we set off our liquid nitrogen bomb because we just wanted to see it explode. I'm sure you know how that's like. So we went out to the point together on this Sunday afternoon, and well, I should tell you about what a liquid nitrogen bomb is like. See, nitrogen becomes a liquid at about 400 degrees below zero, and you pour some liquid nitrogen into a 2-liter Coke bottle, and then you seal the bottle by taking the threads of the cap and screwing it around and around and around and around and around until it gets tight enough. And it turns out that these 2-liter Coke bottles are pretty strong, so that as the liquid warms up and turns to gaseous nitrogen, and it expands and continues to expand until the pressure builds and builds and builds, and finally it blows up the Coke bottle. But it turns out that it takes a lot of pressure in order to do this, so that 2-liter Coke bottles make excellent liquid nitrogen bombs, which makes me very happy. Remember that? So we took our liquid nitrogen bomb over to the point, and well, we made sure that everybody around knew what was going on. We threw it into the water because you have to throw it into the water to make it work, to make enough heat for the nitrogen to expand and to burst the bottle at the seams and send little shards of it. Shards of it flying. Sort of unfortunate. Anyway, so we were making our nitrogen bomb, and of course it made a very loud noise, which is what it's for. And well, something else I should tell you about the point is that it's a kind of a favorite hangout in the neighborhood for people who like to go someplace to smoke pot and do other illegal drugs. So it tends to be crawling with cops even at off hours because they just want to try and catch somebody, some of the sort of degenerate youth that tend to hang around there. So some cops were patrolling looking for some young person to pick up. And they hear our explosion and they come rushing over to us, and here we are, and we've been filming this, of course. What's the point of doing liquid nitrogen bomb without filming it? So here I am with the camera in this black case, okay? And I've just filmed this liquid nitrogen bomb so the policemen may see me with my black case. And they've just heard a very loud explosion, and I'm hurrying as fast as I can over to my black case to try to seal it and protect what's inside. And the policeman sees this, and he comes up to me, and he says, "Hey, what are you doing? What organization are you with? Come with us. Get up against the car. Take your clothes off right now." Well, I was ill-prepared for this. Of course, perhaps I would have been better prepared for this had I noticed that my friends, who had actually set the liquid nitrogen bomb and detonated it, had
by now, I'll run away. And of course, I thought they were just being paranoid. I was wrong. I was very wrong.
Well, what happened to me was that this was back like in late 70s. I had got on my bicycle. I was going to go watch a rugby match over at Steg. Oops, I shouldn't say that. At an athletic field of a major Midwestern university with a very high academic reputation, etc., etc. And well, there was a rugby match there. I rode on my bike over to the field. I kind of squinched down as I was getting close to the entrance to the field because I had to ride right by an apartment building where I had broken out a window with a soccer ball from about 50 yards away one afternoon many years before, but I was afraid they still held a grudge even though I'd paid for the window and everything had been kind of, it had been taken care of as best I could at the time. Anyway, they didn't catch me, and I made it to the entrance of the field.
And I got off my bicycle, walking up. The rugby match was going on my left, and straight ahead of me.
Right directly ahead of me. There was a varsity going on, watching it. And one of the people that was watching it was this guy who at the time was the athletic director of the athletic department of this major university where I was a student and had these connections, and consequently I had to deal with him a lot. I had managed in the course of dealings with him to become his ass and he and mine. We didn't like each other very much. Probably still don't if we had a chance to interact. We probably still don't like each other, but fortunately that doesn't happen very often.
He happened to be leaving just as I arrived. Now, he's not a cop or anything, but he's like a cop. I think he'd like to have been a cop, or would like to be a cop now, or wishes he'd been a cop.
He was an authority. He was an authority figure. And he saw me arriving.
Cops. I first met cops when I was in high school. No, junior high school. Oh, I was in 8th grade. And I kept hearing this weird ringing sound in my head, so a friend of mine and I, we went out at night, mostly on the weekends, and he had this great idea that, wouldn't it be fun to go into other people's houses, late at night, like when they weren't home, if they were on vacation or out to dinner or a show. So we decided we would do this. We were young, we were reckless, we were fun. A couple of fun guys having fun. So we went the first time, if I remember correctly. We went into a house, nobody was home. We got gloves on our hands. We put gloves on our hands. We wore black. Man from U.N.C.L.E. was big at the time. I looked like Ilya Kuryakin. He looked like Napoleon Solo. I liked that. Thought we were young. So we broke into this house. We went down into one of those window wells. We lifted up the little fencing they had over that, and we went down into the well, and we would punch the window. We punched it pretty hard, and it would break. And we'd reach in, we'd unlock it, and we'd go in the houses. We'd go right in the houses, This is somebody else's house. But we would go in the houses, and we would... Sometimes we'd watch TV. Other times we'd smoke pot and sit there. We didn't really take much. We touched things a lot. We'd touch a countertop or a door or a pillow on a bed or sit on a couch to see if it was comfy and try and get a notion of like the guy or the woman that would sit in this chair, what their contours were. We were kind of strange, I guess. Never really thought about it much. But anyway, we did this a couple times. And around the second or third time, we started taking things. I guess it was stealing things, I guess it was stealing things. So we took from the last house we went to, we took a rifle off a fireplace. We thought it was pretty neat. And wait a minute. Hold on. Don't move. Wait. I'll be right with you. Right here. I got this.
So the policeman wanted to know what organization I was with, and I just tried to explain to him that I was just a young student filmmaker. Tried the old college student line on him. And I was going to show him that I just had a camera, and I was just filming this, and it was just a little thing my friends and I were doing, pretty harmless. So I walked over to my camera case, which was this black case, and I opened it up. And the policeman said, "Don't do that! Get away from that case! Stay away from that case right now! Get over here by the car!" Well, I was eager to comply, as you might well understand, given the gun that he had pointed pretty much straight at me. So I got over by the car, and I tried to explain to the policeman. I kept telling him, look, I'm just a little college student, and I'm just trying to do this thing here, and I can explain it all to you. It's very simple. It's really very harmless, and we took all the safety precautions, and you'd have been very proud of us that I never used pot. In fact, and I have a completely clean arrest record. I'm a fine, upstanding citizen. This is a small aberration, which you should easily be able to forgive. The policeman was not impressed. He said, "What are you doing? Don't move. You're under arrest. Get up against the car. Stay there. Don't move. Don't go for that case. And explain to us your name, phone number, social security number, telephone number." I said that already. Well, I don't remember exactly what he said. But he made me get up against the car. And he strip searched me. It's the single most humiliating experience I'd ever had. You ever been strip searched? It sucks. It really, really sucks. I don't know what the fuck he was searching for. I told him where the nitrogen bomb was, but he looked over at where I said the nitrogen bomb was, and he saw a 2-liter Coke bottle, which was shredded by now, and he said, "What the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about? That's not a bomb, that's a 2-liter Coke bottle, some piece of garbage. What sort of simpleton idiot do you take me for? You little punks, you think you can just get away with something, you little college shits. You know, I was rejected from college anyway. I never wanted to be a policeman. I wanted to be a professor of philosophy when I got out of high school. And I applied to college. I applied to the same college that you went to, in fact, and they rejected me. And I remember that. And I hold you responsible. Just thought you'd like to know. Ha. Well, I don't really remember much of what happened after that.
So he saw me riding with my bicycle, and there's a rule that you can't have bicycles at this athletic field. It's only for people who can't have bicycles. That's the rule, right? And so he saw me and he said, Luco, get off your bicycle. No bicycles on Stag Field. Now, I already thought that he was kind of a jerk. I didn't like him at all, and I wasn't going to take crap from this guy if I didn't have to. And I looked up and I saw that there were all kinds of neighborhood youth, unauthorized, anarchistic neighborhood youth riding their bicycles all around the track where the rugby game was going on that I was there to watch. And so I said to him, I'll be glad, I'll be happy to comply with your request, leave Stag Field. But first, you've got to get rid of everybody else. Because I have a right to be here as far as I'm concerned, even though we're both in violation of the no bicycles rule. And you know, I make the point. Now, he thought I was just trying to get the best of him. He thought I was trying to mess with him. And so he said, no, get off Stagfield right now. Luco, get off Stagfield right now. But I saw through him, and I knew that I was on firm moral, if not legal ground. And I said, I'll be glad to get off as soon as you make everybody else leave. I mean, look at all those kids riding their bikes. Anyway, this pissed him off. He grabbed my bicycle, he tried to wrestle it away from me, and we were struggling back and forth. You know, and I was this, you know, like 27-year-old, healthy, exercising male, and he was this old, alcoholic, apoplectic jerk who was on the wrong side of God's moral law as well, trying to make me leave for no good reason. So we were struggling back and forth with the bicycle. And he's starting to turn red, and I'm starting to get worried because he might have a stroke, and then I'd probably charge or something. You know, if he suffered some kind of major medical inconvenience.
I can't get it. We take things, we took a gun. And well, anyway, we thought this was no big deal, so we just took this gun. And next day, I was in school. I was in sixth period math class with Mrs. Prell. And she would say, it's Mrs. Prell. It's just like the shampoo, so it's easy to spell. She thought that was really funny. Strange woman, Mrs. Prell. She was cute, though. And I had her for math, and I was doing really bad in math. I hated math. So I was sitting there playing with myself, and over the loudspeaker, the vice principal, Mr. Frank Normanstein. Do you get the significance? Frank N. period Stein. Frankenstein. That was his name, I swear to God. He had a crew cut, shorter than... It was short. And he had... You could see his bone. And he was big. And he would hit people. It was... I liked him a lot. I really liked this man. So, he says over the loudspeaker, "Will John Harriman please come down to the vice principal's office?" Oh man, this sucks. So, I went down to the vice principal's office and I saw Mr. Stein, and because he usually would just hit me upon a hello. He was a fun guy like that. But he didn't hit me, and I thought, oh, I must really be in deep shit now, man. So he said, "Please step into my office." And I stepped into his office. And there was a man behind the desk where Mr. Stein usually sat. And Mr. Stein closed the door behind me without entering himself. And I thought, oh man, who is this dude sitting here looking at me with those cold, cool, dead eyes? And the man said to me real slow and low, said, "Hi, John. I'm Officer O'Brien. Why is it every cop that deals with kids has an Irish name? I don't know. But," he said, "John, I'd like to inform you of your rights." My rights? I know my rights, Officer O'Brien. You see, I watched Dragnet. In retrospect, not a very smart thing to say. He didn't think this was funny. I thought it was very clever for an 8th grader, but he didn't agree. So he said, "You have the right to remain silent, to talk on the phone, to eat food in small quantities." I don't remember. He said all that, your rights, lawyers and stuff. So I was pretty upset. And he said, "We've got you nailed on a few robbery jobs, John. Why did you steal the gun? Why did you steal the gun? Were you going to kill somebody?" And I said, "No, I needed it for school." And he said, "What did you need it in school for, John?" And I said, "Well, I'm not doing very good in Mrs. Prell's 6th period math class, am I? So I needed to try and improve my grade. Exterminate! Exterminate! Exterminate!" God, that was a great show, wasn't it?
I can only attempt to reconstruct what must have happened. That was too horrible for me to recall. They took us into the police station. And they had already strip searched us by that point. And I think that it was there that they began the interrogation to find out what our motives were for setting this liquid nitrogen bomb and committing an aberrant act against the nation state, which threatened the peace and harmony of our society, corrupting at its core. That is to say, young people, impressionable young people, and college-bound, impressionable young people who should be serving as role models for other impressionable young people to toe the line. This interrogation went on for some time. And when they found out what they wanted to know, they cast us onto the street without giving us our clothes back. In the strange neighborhood where I'd never been before. And they scattered us so that I was all alone in this strange neighborhood without any clothes. Well, that's all I really remember. I just wanted to tell you about that. Because I thought you might find it interesting to know why I don't like policemen. To be perfectly honest with you.
Anyway, at this point, his wife starts getting worried because she was there watching the baseball game too, and she comes up to him and she like grabs his arm and tries to get him to stop. She says, "Jeff, please, can we just go?" And then, like, I was already starting to laugh, but when she said that, I started laughing out loud, which made him all the more furious, but finally decided that there was really nothing that he could do further. So he released the bicycle and he walked away, but he went right to a security phone, and he called up the campus police of a major Midwestern university to see if he could get me thrown out. I quickly sized up the situation. I went over on the other side of the rugby field and just kind of made myself invisible with the people that were watching the rugby match. Eventually the cops showed up, and they did kick out everybody else. They kicked out all these little kids who were riding their bicycles around, much to their consternation because they'd never been messed with before. This is a rule that's never enforced. And I was there watching and thinking that it must be some kind of divine vindication that I was the only person left on the field with a bicycle.
So, he said, well, we're going to call your mother. So when you get home today, she'll know all that you've done. And how will you feel then? And I said, I don't know. We'll see. He let me go, and I had to report to the police station a couple of days. But I was in my mom's custody, so I went home, and Officer O'Brien, without informing me, decided to also tell my mother about the fact that I had recently stolen 3 sticks of dynamite from the freight yards behind my house. So I got home. My mom didn't say anything to me. She didn't say a thing. That was my first encounter with cops. Can't get that set. Get it later at night when I'm alone and I'll squeeze it real hard.